Danielle Kane, co-owner of Evolution Fitness. This is the facility here. I want you to come on and join me. Got our members, Carmela rocking. This is our facility, and I actually wanted to introduce you to one of our staff members, Vito, who is our nutritionist who I just interviewed here. So come on with me, let's go meet our man. I've been waiting to have this interview for a while now because he's such an integral part of our team and has helped myself, my husband, and a lot of our current members get the results that we've always dreamed of. So I'm excited to kind of share a little bit about his story and how we connected. So really quick, Vito, what inspired you to be a nutritionist in the first place?
I got involved in nutrition coming out of high school, and for me, I think personally, I had been going through some bouts of particular ailments, health and wellness issues that I passionately wanted to overcome. And through that passion, it literally drove me into wanting to study more about nutrition, especially, and how to overcome these obstacles through my health and wellness, through proper dieting, focus on nutrition primarily. And therefore, it then led me to what eventually became, ground base of my education for my occupation itself. And through my learning, I was able to assess and learn a lot about the body, the human frame, the organs, 11 major bodily systems, how they all interrelate to each other.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. So you talked a little bit about the education background. Where did you decide to find this knowledge of nutrition? There's a lot that we can read in a book.
Yeah.
What educational route did you feel was the best for you to kind of come up with the program that you have today?
Yeah, so a lot of private organizational studies. The National Health Institute is one based out of New York. American Botanical Council, which is a medically doctor and scientist owned company as well. I'm a certified herbologist through them. So my studies have varied across the board, AAAI, sports nutrition, so level certifications, and also college education as well.
Great.
Yeah.
And I know, you always are feeding us great information on nutrition. How often are you diving into the latest information on nutrition? Is it regular? Is it something that you get news feeds? How on top of it, it seems like you get the latest information. So tell me a little bit about that. Are you just with your network, or how do you get that information?
Yeah, I'm a health nut, so I'm always reading the latest articles. It could be mainstream, it could be Washington Journal. Literally just the other day, I think I sent you an email, the 2016 Nobel Prize winner on autophagy, which is the fasting system of the body, and that's a huge paradigm shift right now with the medical community, college education, university studies, and how that system itself affects health and wellness in the body. And through that, there's going to be definitely the correlation of the gut-brain axis as well. So something as mainstream as that to something, I'm inspired by, I think, a few maybe individuals, organizations out there, the Organic Consumers Association. I'll read, news feeds from them, that type of stuff. So and then books. I'm constantly reading books, and I'll sometimes even go back to something I read 15 years ago and probably comprehend something new out of it as well.
Yeah, you always bring good information, and that's one thing I can honestly say about having you here is, if I ever have a question, I know that you've done extensive research on it and to see if it makes sense. So that's something that we're grateful for, always having someone not only in the nutrition field but in our fitness field that they're always staying on top of the latest trends, or what is not even trends, but what is best for our bodies and best for bodies working out and nutritionally. So I appreciate that, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Who in mind would you say is your biggest success story? I know this is going to be really involved, but is there anyone in particular who has had a rough journey, maybe reminded them of yourself, that you've been able to have, honestly, they're part of your life now, or it's just been great to share their experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's definitely a loaded question, like you mentioned. I think every person who comes to me to inquire is always someone who's looking to better their health and wellness, and therefore I can relate to every person, because my mission in life has always been, and still is, to have optimal health and wellness. You know, that it's just who I am. It's embedded in me. It's learned behavior, but I also think somehow it's just simply embedded in me. So I think people kind of stand out, but I've had hundreds and hundreds of clients, and I have particular individuals, probably most recent, maybe a couple in the past that I could pick out. But I think for me, it's so universal that every person, I can relate to every person universally, you know, and that connection is so very important with the program itself. But I think some individuals that maybe stand out a little bit more than others, who maybe have had a little bit more struggle than me, than you, and so forth, you know, are people like Jim Hayden. You know, he definitely comes to mind. Here's, you know, an individual with an autoimmune disease, type 1 diabetic, and the results have just been profound, you know, to the point where, you know, it's a little bewildering, I think. You know, he just feels incredible. The results he's gotten, you know, his levels, his blood panels, everything's just incredible.
I remember he said he was getting sick almost every month. I mean, it's amazing the progress that he's made since he's been changing his nutritional routine.
Yeah, someone like him, especially with the disease and basically a lot of the program, not only has he lost a substantial amount of weight, probably around 20 pounds through the program, but for him it was just to feel better. He wants to go through life feeling better. One of those 3 components we do here, you know, at Evolution Fitness. And so for him, that's huge. He could probably say, and it's not a quote, but he feels 1,000% better. You know, and then you have someone like Kristen Seitz, who is an old client and still involved, you know, in the program to this day. She's had extreme weight loss. So this is someone who's, you know, had to suffer with, you know, binge eating quite a bit, just the addiction of food itself, and has had to overcome those battles as well, and has had the goal of strictly losing weight, you know, and there's someone who's done that. She's lost a lot of weight, you know. So those are people that I think, you know, would represent maybe that question in some detail.
Great, awesome. Well, it's great, and I know both of them very well, so it's nice that, you know, I can also have seen their success and them discuss a little bit about their experience with the program. Working with individuals, what are some of the challenges that you face? Some questions or some resistance that you get with maybe a program, or the difficulty that they have overcoming some of their challenges?
I think overall the difficulty is simply modern society. I think working with a lot of the common lifestyles, you know, nowadays is probably those obstacles that are relevant for most people. The whole weekend thing, you know, and having to constantly stay on top of that weekend, what should I call it? Regression. You know, the weekend regression, where they have to then make up for that regression. It's all a delicate balance for most people. But I think it also is the emotional. So I think a difficulty for a lot of people is food can be very emotional to people. So we try to accommodate that, because there's definitely a healthy response to eating and enjoying it and being fulfilled in that way. But at the same time, there then becomes an overdependence on that emotional connection. So we go through certain systems, and that's really the individual or the biospecific of that individual, and how they're going to overcome that hurdle, so to speak, and that connection where it's healthy, but not overindulged. So that's probably one of the biggest ones, I would say.
Okay, good. How did you come up with the current nutrition program that you've had today? I mean, did you start off with the foundation and then over time changed it, or is it pretty consistent, would you say, over the past couple of years? How did you come up with the plan that you have? I guess it's a biospecific plan per person, but what made you come up with that layout, or their overall program, as far as the time that they have to follow it and then it changes?
Well, that's very, very involved, because there are many, many components to the program, and there's components that are biospecific as well, so the formula kind of changes. I think it's definitely the culmination of personal experience and obviously with that educational experience. So it's constantly evolving. To answer your question directly, it's constantly evolving, and it should, because I'm constantly learning and growing as well. And I think honing in on the individual, that's the complexity of this program, for me at least. Providing the consultations, that's the complexity. So I think when it comes down to organization of the program and making it somewhat tangible, to me I see it as two parts. Okay, one, there's definitely an underlying foundation involved with nutrition, food, the food groups, categories, calories, all that stuff. And I've put that into a perspective or organization, so to speak, of which case we obviously present here to the clients itself. And that is the educational part. So a great part about the program is people get to learn why I recommend these things, you know. So that's that part. And then the other part is the biospecifics, and through that there is the organization I've created for assessment. So there's all types of assessments. We use blood panels for assessments, chemistry, that sort of thing. I have a questionnaire that has a rating system for the 11 major bodily systems, for instance. So there's types of assessments. And every one of those aspects, including the both parts of that program, has evolved over time, and it's, I think, consistently evolving. And I think basically at this point, I think I've reached some level of, I would say, a pinnacle point, you know, where it's kind of now just simply adding little accents and attributes as I'm evolving and learning along the way as well.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Well, I just know that from a personal experience, growing up in a household like many people, where you eat what your parents have made, you know, you don't really have a direct path, and you know, there are programs out there that gives tons of information, the news, you know, a lot of people hear this stuff all the time, and the one thing I can say is it's great to have a resource of someone who's actually done the homework and can explain the science behind it, because I've read a lot. When we first met, it kind of flipped me upside down and thinking, okay, well, I've always been told something else. So this is the great part about it is, you know, there are a lot of sick people out there. You know, we say this is the wealthiest sick country in the world, and it's definitely a need. So we're so happy to have someone like you here to be able to help people, but to educate. And that's really, I think, the most important thing. And I'm just glad that we can share this, and we want to continue to be offering this program. We now have a membership that includes nutrition and fitness, which is very unique. And we're so excited to kind of explain a little bit more about it. So that was great. I think that's all I have for today.
Okay.
So I appreciate your time, and looking forward to maybe another one in the future.
My pleasure.
All right. Awesome.